Welcome to our gentle class today. Our theme for the whole session, so this is the first class of 12 weeks, and our theme for the whole session is on vitality. And this sort of came to me over the holidays when I became a bit of a sloth, I have to admit, sitting around, eating too much sugar and kind of feeling not that great, not having a lot of energy and not feeling my normal sense of vitality. So kind of came to me, there's things that we do in our lives to help increase vitality, and there's things that we do that kind of diminish vitality, and finding our balance and our way through that so we get to do the things we love, like eat chocolate, but not overdo it. And then add on the things that really help us to feel better in ourselves, on a day-to-day basis, the little things we do. So drinking a bit more water, that kind of thing, doing movement. Getting outside is huge. So today, what I want to focus on really for our practice is just moving the body. So one of the ways that we get into a slump is by not moving our bodies. And when we move our bodies, it actually increases our energy and our vitality. If you're like me, you may have kind of let your practice slide a little bit over the holidays. I kind of go in and out, but just harder to get motivated over the last month or so. And so I'm getting back into it and really feeling the effects of my body is so much happier when I do a bit of movement. So we're going to ease into things today, nothing too intense or strenuous, really focusing on the spine, the movements of the spine, and the other joints in the body. So we'll start seated. You can sit on the floor or sit on a chair, whatever's comfortable for you, and I will see you on the mat. All right. So find a comfortable position. You don't have to be cross-legged as I am. If that's comfortable for you, you're welcome. You can have your legs stretched out in front of you, or one leg stretched out, one bent, whatever works. And just as a reminder, in all of my classes, I'm here as a guide, and the practice is really for you, listening to your own body, supporting yourself, knowing or tuning into what feels good for you and maybe what doesn't feel good for you. And really the biggest advice I can give you is to never force or push your body, right? When we do that, the body naturally responds by creating resistance, right? And when we push through that resistance, it's much easier to create injury. And it's kind of a violent act against ourselves when we try to force. So treating ourselves with love, with respect, with care, with patience as we move into our practice today. So starting by finding our posture, I find it's really helpful when I'm sitting on the floor to have my hips raised up a little higher. I've got a cushion here I'm sitting on, and that just helps my back to feel more at ease. When I'm personally on the floor, I feel like my back rounds and I have to work really hard to sit up nice and tall. So nice relaxed and upright position, shoulders dropping down and away from your ears. Crown of your head lifting toward the ceiling. And see if you can feel those 2 points at the bottom of your pelvis. They're called the sits bones or sitting bones, or if you want the technical term, ischial tuberosity. It's 2 protrusions at the bottom of the pelvis that support your weight. And you want to feel, if you can, the weight even on the 2 sides. Now, if what you're sitting on is really soft, you may not feel these 2 points, but knowing that you have one side and the other side to your pelvis, and just rocking a little one way and the other. And see if you can feel your weight shift from one to the other of your sits bones. And then we'll do a little forward and back shift. So it's actually a bit of a pelvic tilt. So the pelvis tilts a bit forward, and then the pelvis tilts a bit back. Pelvis tilts forward. And so now you're kind of rocking forward and back on those sit bones. Great. And again, try to find a place that feels balanced in the middle. a comfortable seat, and we'll do a little bit of work with the neck and shoulders, the arms and wrists. So starting with the head, so reaching the crown of the head up, take a breath in, and as you exhale, gently let your chin lower toward your chest. Try to do that without rounding your upper back. And then lifting the head to center. And then we'll take the head and turn it to one side, and just go until you meet the first level of resistance. So don't push past that. And then let your chin sink down slightly towards your collarbone. Notice if or how the stretch changes. And then coming through the center over to the other side. Again, going until you meet that first level of resistance, not forcing or pushing past that. And then chin softening down toward the collarbone a little bit. And then let's come back to the center. So if any of these movements feel too strong for your neck or shoulders or any of that today, just really back off, do less rather than more. Let's turn to the first side again. And this time we'll make a little half circle, moving really slowly across the front of the chest. Coming up to the other side and then moving back. So I invite you to move really, really slowly. Notice each little area of your neck and what's present there. And as you go, if you find areas that are a little tighter, what you can do is very gently make little circles around the areas that feel tight. Just little movements, micro movements, nothing again that's forceful or intense with your neck at all. Just little circles around where you find tension, where you find holding. Great. And then eventually bringing the head back to the center. And we'll take one ear and lower it down towards the opposite shoulder. So now we're looking for stretch on the opposite side of the neck. So you're just letting the weight of your head create the stretch. You're not forcing the head down. If it feels like too much, come up a little bit. And if you want a little bit more, this side that you're stretching, you can take that arm, turn your palm back, and bend the elbow, bring it behind your back, and see if that gives a little stretch on the shoulder or neck that feels good to you. If not, then just release the arm again. Let's slowly come to center, taking the other ear down. And again, it's just the weight of your head creating the stretch. You're not forcing or pushing at all. Again, you can just stay here or back off a little bit, or if you want more, palm back, bending the elbow to slide it behind you. And that may or may not add or change the stretch for the side of the neck for you. And then slowly return to the center. Let's lift both shoulders up and release both shoulders down. So lifting with a breath in, releasing with an exhale. Great. And then let's press down with the shoulders, lift up with the crown of the head. And again, we'll turn the head to one side. Sweep the chin slowly across the front of the chest. And then if you like, you can make this into a gentle circle. So you're just coming across the top now, not tilting the head back. So your nose is pointing forward or down, not up at the ceiling. And I say that because that's a safer movement for your neck than letting the head fall back, which can compress the delicate vertebrae of the neck, or the discs that we want to really be kind and gentle to our neck. So you can go one way and then the other. If there's other movements that would feel good to your neck, if you really like that side stretch, you can go back there. Just exploring a little bit more movement. And then eventually coming back to the center. So we'll bring the hands onto the thighs or the knees and extend the spine, lifting the heart. Draw your shoulder blades back, gently, gently, gently squeezing them towards each other. And then open your shoulder blades wide. Bring your shoulders forward so the shoulder blades open in the back. Round your back, bring your head down. And then coming up. Draw the shoulders gently back, very gently squeezing the shoulders, and then rounding and opening that space in your upper back. If you want to coordinate your breathing, inhale as you extend or arch the back, exhale as you flex or round. And then let's come back to the center. We'll press the palms together in front of the chest. Move the heels of your hands down. If it's available to you, you can imagine a straight line from your elbow to elbow. Now, if your wrists are tight, that line may be up a little bit in the middle. That's fine. But if you can press down toward the ground and create a straighter line, then you'll get a little more stretch in the wrists. But again, it's what feels comfortable for you. Little pressure against the hands, lift the heart. Feel the arms and the chest engage a little. And then we'll release the hands, we'll bring them behind the back and bend your arms if that's comfortable. So if I show you behind, I'm in this kind of position. You could reach for your elbows if you are able and that's comfortable for you. Lifting the heart, taking a few breaths here. Good, and then release, bring the hands back together in front. We'll take the palms down now, and then the backs of the hands come together. You're gonna roll the hands towards you and out with the palms up, and then you'll roll over, palms down, backs of the hands rolling in and around. So that movement of just rolling the hands, the backs of the hands around each other, warming up the wrists. You can go the other way as well, reverse the direction. And if your wrists and hands don't make sense of this movement, just do circles. It's absolutely fine. Good, and then give them a little shake. We'll take the arms to the sides. If your shoulders feel tight or sore today, arms a little lower might be better for you. You don't want to lift them any higher than shoulder height. So from here, slowly lift your fingertips up toward the ceiling so you feel a stretch in your arms, not so much that you feel tension in your shoulders. And then we're going to take the hands into fists, roll the fists down toward the ground and slowly bend the elbows so your fists come toward your shoulders. And then we'll press out like you're pressing two walls away from you and then holding on as if you're pulling them back in by handles, back in, and then pressing out and drawing in. If you want to coordinate your breath, it's always optional. Inhale as you press out, exhale as you draw in. Great, and let's leave the arms out. If they're getting tired, take a break anytime. Try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Feel that stretch in the arms, and if you like, you can do a few little circles. Try turning the hands down and circling. Maybe go the other way a few times. And again, give them a little shake. Shake, shake, shake. Just release any tension that may have built in there. And then let your hands rest on your lap or in your thighs. If you like, you can close your eyes for a moment. And I invite you to just check in. So we did a little bit of work for the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the wrists and hands so far. And see if you can notice any sensations there that may be different from when we started a few minutes ago. What are you aware of? And there's no right or wrong answer. So if your answer is, I'm aware of nothing, then that is a perfectly legitimate answer. Nothing is something. So noticing whatever is present or not present. And then if your legs are crossed, you may want to stretch them out. And if you're on a chair, I invite you to come down to the floor now. We'll do a little bit of work down here on the floor before we get back up to standing. So you can stretch the legs out, maybe give them a little shake, go side to side with your legs. I don't think you can see it on my screen, but just taking the feet side to side here, releasing my hips from sitting for a few minutes in that cross-legged position, giving a shake. And then when you're ready, you can swing your legs around and come right over onto hands and knees here. So being cautious with your wrists and your knees. So if you need padding under your knees, roll up your mat or use a blanket under your knees. If you feel tension in your wrists, you can either be up on your fists, or what I like to do sometimes is to roll up the end of my mat and have a little more cushioning underneath my wrists. So take breaks if you need to, support your wrists, cushion your knees as best you can with what you've got available. And then we'll work with the cat-cow movement. So there's a little arch, so the tail lifts, the chest moves forward, keep your elbows soft, and try not to crank your head up. So you don't need to look at the ceiling. Just think about the head continuing the line of your spine. And then as you exhale, think about tailbone starting the movement. So the tailbone tucks under, the spine follows like dominoes, the head comes down, and then the tail can start. The spine moves like dominoes, the head moves last. So see if you can tune into that idea of the movement initiating from the pelvis. And then the spine, the neck, and the head just following along. Remember, soft elbows, there's such a tendency to lock the arms here, which will put more tension into your neck and shoulders. So nice and easeful in the elbows. And then if you like, you can add child's pose. So rocking forward onto your hands and then rocking back into child's pose. Coming forward and back for just a little more stretch. Now, if you find that there's not enough room for your belly here, you can, after Christmas holidays, you can take your knees apart. Right, or for any reason, if it's not comfortable to have your knees together, knees apart is just a really lovely alternative. And then let's come back up onto all fours and just do a little bit of side movement, just allowing the sides of the body to move, the hips going side to side. You can let the head go. You know, I see a lot of you I know have dogs, and you've probably seen this where the tail wags and the whole body wags. Right? So let yourself be a little loosey-goosey here and let your body wag with your tail. Not quickly, nice and slow. It's just not limiting the movement at all. Right. And then coming back to the center, as long as child's pose is comfortable for you, you can come back to child's pose. If you find that it's more comfortable to be up here with your weight on your elbows and sort of a modified puppy pose instead of child's pose, that's a really nice option. If your hips are stiff, or if you've got a bit of a belly in the way, or any lower back issues where rounding the back doesn't feel comfortable. So this is a really nice alternative. You can let the head release here and get lots of the benefits in child's pose without maybe putting more pressure on your knees or ankles or lower back or belly. So either position. Couple more breaths here. And then we're going to make our way to a standing forward bend. So you can come to a squat, you can come up onto your knees and then step your feet forward. Really doesn't matter how you get there. You want to find your way to this nice soft knee forward bend, maybe elbows up on the thighs if you like, or you can hold your arms and dangle here for a few breaths or hang the arms. And then as you come up, keep your knees soft, uncurl your body slowly, let your head come up last. Arms stay heavy, and then you'll eventually find yourself upright in mountain pose, or Tadasana is the Sanskrit word for this position, literally mountain pose. Just take a moment as you come upright to let your body settle into this position. Feel your heels sinking down into the earth. Let your legs be strong and engaged, but not tight. So you're feeling the sense of engagement as you drop into the heels. The thighs pull up a little bit. And then see if you can feel a lightness through the spine, lifting right up to the crown of the head. Shoulders drop, crown lifts. And feeling that strength and stability of a mountain. And let's take the feet apart a little bit, and we'll bring some flow and some movement in. So you can bring your hands to your hips, and I invite you to circle your hips around, big circles or small circles, whatever feels good. Getting into those hip joints. The hip is a ball and socket joint. It has a really wide range of motion, lots of different ways that it moves. Or they, I guess, if we have more than one hip. And this circling movement helps to lubricate the joint. So as the ball moves in the socket of your hip, this is how our joints lubricate, is actually through movement. So let's eventually come back to the center, and you can keep the feet in this position or adjust them a little bit as it feels right for you. But we'll rotate the shoulders again. I don't think we rotated the shoulders yet. So we'll do this alternating shoulders. So one shoulder comes up and back, and then the other shoulder lifts and rolls back. And I encourage you to let your body move. So just like when we were wagging our bodies with our tails earlier, it's letting the shoulders go and feeling the rest of your body follow. Just in whatever way happens naturally. There's no right or wrong. You can go the other direction too. See how that feels. Right, and then eventually making your way back to the center. So we'll keep the feet again about shoulder distance apart, so a little wider than hip width, whatever is comfortable for you. And we'll do a little bit of a gentle side bend here. So I encourage you to keep your knees soft. There's a tendency to lock the knees when we're standing. So I encourage you to keep them soft. When we lock the knees, if I show you from the side, if you happen to be looking at your screen, when we lock the knees, we tend to then kind of drop the pelvis forward and drop the shoulders. As soon as we bend the knees, the pelvis can sit nicely level over the legs, and the spine comes into a more natural position. So from here, feet slightly apart, we'll raise one arm up, taking a breath in as you go, and then reach up and over slightly to the side. Switch arms as you're taking your next breath in, and then exhale to go the other way. So you can lift as you inhale, reach up and over as you exhale. Now, if it feels good to your body to move like this, keep on moving. If you think it would feel good to stay for a few breaths and just be in the pose, you can stay for a few breaths. So really encourage you to listen to your body, see what would be a good option for you. You can always try something, and if it doesn't feel good, switch. Great, and then coming back to the center, releasing both arms down now. So here we'll lift both arms up, and then bending the knees even a little bit more, either elbows to the thighs or reaching toward the ground. Let your head relax, and then come all the way up. Breathing in and going forward. So again, a few more at your own pace. So it's always optional to coordinate your movement with the breath. So breathing itself is not optional. You can always breathe freely and move at a pace that feels comfortable. If you like, you can again keep moving here or stay for a few breaths in any version of the forward bend that feels right for you. When you're ready to lift, you'll come up and release. And then let your feet come together. You can give your legs a little shake, your arms a little shake. And then we'll take the legs a little wider again, moving into Warrior Two this time. So the general rule with Warrior Two is that the wider apart your legs are, the more challenging the pose becomes. So you could be as narrow as shoulder distance or as wide as your ankles lining up underneath your wrists. So that's a pretty wide stance. So anywhere in between. And then once you get into that stance, press down into the feet. So inner edges, outer edges of your feet pressing down so that your ankles are in line with your lower legs and your feet. Otherwise, you tend to roll out on your ankles and put a lot of strain on the ankles. So pressing down into the feet, nice strong legs. We'll take the arms out to the sides. Okay, we're going to take the right foot and turn it to the right. The left foot can stay where it is, or you can find an angle slightly in or slightly out that's comfortable for you. And then bending your right knee, you want it to track straight over your ankle. So this is Warrior Two. From Warrior Two, we're going to turn the head so that we're looking over the hand that corresponds with the bent knee. So if it's your right knee bent, you're looking out over your right hand. Drop the shoulders a little, lift the heart, chin down, and feel the strength of this posture, Warrior Two. Keep pressing into your left foot and feeling your ankle well supported. Right. From here, we'll move into side angle pose. So you can bring your hand down onto your thigh, or if it's comfortable for you, you could even rest your forearm on your thigh. Reach the other arm straight up and imagine you're reaching for someone who's reaching down their hand towards you from above. So you're really growing up as well as softening down. And then we're going to take that top arm, swing it down by the hip. Turn your shoulders toward the ground, making a circle with your arm coming up, overhead, down, and around. Think about extending that circle. Great. And then next time you are lifting the arm, let your body lift back into Warrior Two. Good. And then straightening the leg and turn your feet parallel. And I invite you to bring your feet together now just for a moment and give them a shake. Just let go of the effort of that pose. And then we'll do the other side. So again, when you're ready, you can take your feet as wide apart as you like. So you get to choose how challenging you want the pose to be by how far apart you decide to take your feet. And then from there, we'll raise the arms to the sides. We're going to take the left foot now, turn it out to the side. Right foot, you can play around with what angle feels comfortable for you. Especially making sure your right ankle is in line with your legs. You're pressing into the whole foot and then bending the knee so it tracks straight over your ankle. Right? So we want to be able to see the big toe on the inside of your foot so you know that your knee isn't falling in. And then from there, you can look out over your left hand, shoulders down, chest lifting, chin down, feeling the strength and the effort of warrior pose. Beautiful. From here, you can let the hand or perhaps the forearm drop down onto the thigh, other arm reaching up. And again, imagine you're reaching for something just out of your reach, just out of range. And then from there, think about drawing the arm down, turning toward the ground, sweeping your fingers above the ground, overhead, up and around. So you continue a few more circles like that. If there's any tension in your shoulder, try bending your arm if that's more comfortable as you come overhead. So modify, experiment. If something doesn't feel good, you can try making a change, making an adjustment. If it still doesn't feel good, you may want to just skip whatever it is we're doing so that you're honoring your own body. Next time you're coming through a circle and lifting, let it lift you up, back to warrior two. We'll straighten the front leg. Turn the feet so they're parallel and lower your arms. And we'll step the feet together. Coming back to mountain pose, you can just give everything a little shake and release. And then we'll do a few forward bends to align the body back up down the midline. So reaching up with the breath in. Bend your knees, always good in a forward bend, hands to thighs or shins or feet to the ground. And then again, we'll repeat that dynamically. So coming up with the breath in, coming forward with an exhale. And again, if you like, you can stay in the forward bend for a few breaths. If you prefer, keep on moving if that feels better for you. So wherever you're at, try to let your head release so that your neck is not holding tension in the forward bend. Right, and then we'll come all the way up with the breath in. And exhale to release. So we're going to work with warrior one now. So it's another variation of the warrior. And you may want to have blocks handy or a chair. It's not necessary. I can show you how to do it without any props at all. But if you've got either a chair or blocks and you'd like to use them for the forward bend part of warrior, you could grab those. So I will demonstrate with a chair and without a chair so that you have an idea. So if you're using a chair or if you've got blocks, they'll be on either side of your front foot. One foot will be forward, the other foot is back. And instead of being sideways now, as we were in warrior two, we want to face the front foot. So your hips are pointing in the same direction as your front foot. And here, you'll lift up, you bend the front knee, and then we're going to come forward. So it could be hands to knee, it could be hands to your chair, it could be two blocks if you have them. Right? If you've got blocks, you could use those, or maybe reaching straight to the ground. So that's the basic pattern. We'll lift up with the breath in, bending the front knee. You can keep it bent or move it a bit straighter as you come forward. So that's going to depend how much stretch you want to feel in the back of the leg. Great, next time you come upright, let's stay upright for a few breaths. Press firmly into the back foot and feel it right from the hip all the way down to your foot is well engaged. Your thigh is pulling up in the front. You're a little bit engaged in the core, so you're lifting up nice and tall. Shoulders can stay a little bit relaxed, but reaching the arms up. And then we'll come forward. So the hands can come onto your thigh, a chair, blocks, or the ground, whatever works. If your hands are on your thigh, just want to be careful as you move your leg a little straighter and a little more bent that you're not locking your knees. So you want to keep your thigh engaged and keep the knee slightly bent, even when it's coming to a straighter position. You can also do this with hands on blocks or chair, floor. If you like, you can stay with the front leg a little straighter, maybe let your body sink down a bit more. Feel the stretch that feels just right for you. So maybe it means bending the knee a little more. Maybe for you it's more straight. Maybe for you you're more upright or more forward. And when you're ready, we're going to lift up again, warrior one, and then release. So let's take a moment, bring the feet side by side again. Maybe notice the difference between one side and the other. And I have one pink leg and one blue leg, but I also feel a lot of difference even as well as they look different. So you may or may not feel some difference between the two sides. And if you don't feel different from one side to the other, it doesn't mean you did anything wrong, right? It's just our own bodies are unique and our perception of sensation is also unique. So we're going to do the other side now. So whichever leg was forward will be back and vice versa. The back foot is turned out a little bit on an angle, really just enough so that your foot can be comfortably on the ground. If your foot were pointing forward, every time you bend the knee, you likely end up lifting the heel. So we want to keep that back foot planted. That's our anchor. So finding the turnout that makes that happen and feel really stable for you. If you feel wobbly side to side in warrior pose, my recommendation is to make sure there's space between your feet side to side, right? So you're not stepping right in front of the other foot, which puts you on a tightrope. Right? So the foot is out to the side more, and then you've got a nice stable base. So with that good stability in our bodies, we'll bend the front knee, lift the arms, coming into warrior one. And then exhale, moving forward, maybe moving this leg a little straighter, but not locking it. And again, lifting and coming forward, any amount. Right, this time, if you like, you can stay in that forward bend. Again, hands on whatever is handy, right? You can use your own body or a prop if you've got something available. And then moving the leg a little more bent, a little more straight. So again, if your hands are on your knee, you want to really make sure you're not pressuring back against your thigh to hyperextend the knee. You want to keep it slightly bent. And hands could be on the ground if that's available to you. Wherever you're at, we're all different and unique, which is the beauty of us. But it also means that what you're doing may not look like what I'm doing, and that's totally perfectly great. Right, let's come up and take a moment in warrior one, shoulders down, heart lifting, back legs strong, really engaged from the hip to the heel. And then we'll release the arms and step back to mountain pose. So in mountain pose, again, feel your legs strongly rooting down toward the earth, the heels dropping down, the spine growing up out of the pelvis, the crown of the head lifting, and then palms turn out. Let's take a breath in and reach the arms up. This time as we go forward, if it's comfortable for you, you can let the hands come to your lower back, let your chest come toward your thighs, and then we'll repeat. Now, if it feels better to you to have the support of hands to thighs, then that is also a lovely option here. Maybe one more. And then this time when you come upright, let's stay here to release the arms. And then arms out to the sides. Reaching back a little, soft elbows, reach back with a big breath in. And then as you exhale, cross your arms over each other, bring your hands to your shoulders, let your elbows sink down. So we're trying to get some space between the shoulder blades. Bend your knees a little bit. Let your head come down. Take a few breaths here. If it feels good to you, you can kind of rock side to side with your elbows kind of going one way and the other to encourage a little opening in the shoulders. So notice which arm you've got on top as you come to the center. We're going to release. Take the arms behind your back. You can either hold your hands or keep your arms parallel, or maybe reach back for your elbows. So some position where your arms are behind and it's comfortable for you. And then finding a little lift in the heart. A couple of breaths here. And then release slowly, arms to the sides. Bend the elbows a little, reach back with the arms, breathing in, and then other arm is going to come on top. You're going to reach for your shoulders and then let the elbows sink down. Again, soften your knees a little bit and open up the upper back by bringing your head down. And then if you like, you can do that little side to side movement with your upper back, upper body. Just getting into the shoulder blades. Great, and then let's release. And we'll do a few rotations here. Again, I really encourage you to go slowly here and notice, pay attention and feel every nuance in your shoulders. Where are they clunky? Where do they move freely? Where is there tension or holding, and where is there ease? Good, one more. Okay, and then just give everything a really gentle little shake, just let it go and release. And we're going to make our way now down onto the floor. So you really don't need anything except if you want to have, say, a blanket handy for Shavasana later or a pillow for your head. Otherwise, we'll just come to the ground and you can lie down with your knees bent. And with your hands, maybe resting somewhere on your body, on your belly or your chest, or one hand on each, if that feels comfortable for you, so that you can gently tune into the feeling of the movement of your breath here. So as you come to the ground, take your time. Start out by simply feeling your body supported by the earth. Feel that the earth has your back, that you can relax completely because you are fully supported. So take a few breaths with that deep knowledge and feeling of support. Let go of the effort of the standing work. And allow your body to soften here as we move into some more easeful lying down poses. And then we'll take the hands from the belly or chest and bring them down alongside the body. And then slowly raising the arms up. You can keep moving them beyond the space behind you. And you want to go really, really slowly. And when you feel that first sort of level of restriction, you're going to reverse and come back. So we're not forcing the shoulders past a point of comfort. You might find that bending your elbows as you lift up is more comfortable for your shoulders, so you can certainly give that a try if there's tension with straight arms. And you can absolutely always stop well before any points of tension or discomfort. So once you've established what's going to be comfortable for these arm raises, you can start to alternate bringing the knees in one at a time. So right knee in, give a little squeeze as the arms come down. And then as you release the foot, the arms will lift up again. And then the other knee can come in. So you can alternate like that, side to side a couple of times. And finish the one you're on so that you end up with one knee in toward the chest, doesn't matter which one. You can hold over or behind the knee for now as you let that thigh sink toward your chest. Finding a comfortable place for you. And then for the next one, you have the option. You can keep your hands behind your thigh, or you can let your hands rest on your body or the ground as we move the leg a little straighter toward the ceiling, and then bend the knee in toward the chest. So do that a few times at your own comfortable pace. And then as the leg is in the air this time, feel free to circle the ankle, either big or smaller circles. See if you can stay connected to the sensations. You're paying attention to what you feel as you do the movement. Right, and then gently press your heel up towards the ceiling, toes move back toward your face, and then think about really dropping down into the leg, into the hip, so that that hip is really grounded. You're not pushing with the other leg and trying to get anywhere. You're not pulling with your hands, just keeping the leg up. You're keeping it engaged, foot flexed. Good. And then relax, give the leg a little shake. And then that knee, or the knee bends and the foot comes to the floor. We'll take the arms overhead, taking a breath in. And then as you exhale, bringing the other knee into your chest. And we'll pause here for a few breaths, either holding over or behind the thigh, whatever is more comfortable for you. And then again, you can keep holding the leg, or you can let go altogether as you straighten and bend a few times. Right, leaving the leg in the air. Again, you can circle the ankle around. Have as much bend in the knee as you need to be comfortable. So your leg definitely does not need to be straight. So you're going one way and the other. And then try flexing the foot so the heel points toward the ceiling. And then again, really feel like you're dropping into the earth through that hip. Bend your knee as much as you need to. It's not about getting the legs straight, but really feeling that nice gentle stretch in your own body. Great, let's relax the foot and give the leg a little shake. And then releasing to bring the foot to the floor. Let's now take both knees to the chest. So one hand to each knee, and we'll draw the knees in. And then you can hold your legs, but just straighten the arms, taking a breath in, and then bend your arms, exhale, knees in. Repeat that a few more times. Okay, and then when you're ready, you can slowly release your feet to the ground. Take your arms and let them rest on the ground a little bit away from your body. Have your feet roughly hip distance apart. Could be a little closer, a little further, depending on what feels good for you as we move into a gentle twist now. So knees moving in one direction. They can move just a little or all the way down toward the ground and then back to the center. Again, you're going to listen to your own body so that you know how far to go. If it feels uncomfortable or there's any twinges in your lower back, definitely erring on the side of less rather than more. And then if it feels really good and you want more, as your knees go one way, you can let your head release the other direction. And then if it feels right for you to stay in the twist for a few breaths, you can stay there. You can keep the knees bent and more or less right near each other, on top of each other. If you want a little bit more twist, you can take the upper leg and bring it further up toward your opposite arm and down toward the ground, or even stretch it out toward the ground. Now, if you want less, then what you'll do is you'll take the top leg and move it more toward the ceiling. The bottom leg might stay toward the ground. The top leg, as you lift it, is going to take you out of the twist a little bit. And then the other option is just to keep on moving dynamically if that feels better. So if you've been staying on one side, I encourage you to come back out of the pose and move into the twist on the other side. And again, you can play around with how high does that knee lift, how straight does the leg go, depending on how much space you've got as well. Right? Breathing. And eventually, make your way back onto your back. You may want to lift your hips up for a moment and bring them back down in a position that feels aligned between your spine, your shoulders, and your hips. So you feel like you're in a nice straight line again. And then we'll bring the knees back into the chest. And again, repeat that forward and back motion to help to equalize the sides of the back. Come back into alignment. You can stay with this forward and back movement if this feels good for you, or if you want something a little different, maybe a little bit more stretch. Instead of just moving the legs away, you can straighten the legs and reach the arms behind you or to the sides, and then back to the center. And then maybe holding the knees, you can hold them with your hands clasped over if that's accessible to you, or maybe one hand on each knee. You can even have the knees apart and rock a little side to side if that feels good. If the knees could be further away. So it's really just giving your back a little massage on the ground. Where your legs are is not so important. It's just as long as it's comfortable. And you can either stay with this, or if you want a little bit more and you like the happy baby pose, the easiest version of that pose is just to let the elbows come to the ground, the hands to the back of the thighs, thighs toward the chest, and feet pointing up toward the ceiling. You can kind of rock from there. So that's a nice, simpler version. And for those who are able and want a little more, you take the arms inside the legs, reach for your ankles, or if you can, the outer edges of your feet. And then again, you can rock a little side to side or just stay still. So take your time. If there's any other movement that would feel good to you, you can take a minute or two to stretch out or squeeze in or do whatever would feel good to you. And then we are going to move into Shavasana. So you can get yourselves comfortable lying on the ground. If you prefer to sit, that is always an option. If you're lying down, you may want to have a blanket or a pillow to give you as much comfort as possible. And again, if you're sitting, a chair is totally fine. A cushion on the floor, or I know some people are comfortable right on the floor. I am not so comfortable on the floor. So you choose for you the position that you will feel most relaxed and comfortable in. So we'll take about 5 minutes to relax, and at the end of that time I will share a short chant with you that is all about nourishing our systems, not just our bodies, but our energy, our breath, our senses, our mind. Really, when we're thinking about vitality, what we're looking for is that nourishment that allows us to feel energized, to feel good. We feel nourished, we feel supported. We can expand in that space of feeling safe. So get yourselves as comfortable as you can. Make whatever adjustments you need to so that you can relax as fully as possible. And then see if you can tune into the feeling of the ground beneath you. Feel where your body makes contact with the earth. And as you exhale, let those points of contact melt and soften, as if you're sinking right into the mat, into the earth, into the ground. Exhale and sink down. Let go of the effort of the practice. Let go of any judgments that may have arisen through the practice. And let the breath nourish you as it enters and leaves your body with as much ease as possible. Let the area around your mouth and jaw soften. Relax the muscles of your face, all around your eyes and across your forehead. Let the weight of your head sink down. Feel your neck soften, your shoulders let go. Feel your arms, your wrists, your hands releasing. And with each exhale, allow your body to sink into that relaxation just a little bit more. Feel your rib cage relaxing, the little muscles between your ribs softening, your belly, lower back letting go. Relax your hips and pelvis. Feel the weight of your pelvis on the ground and soften the muscles of your buttocks. Soften through the lower abdomen. And relax your thighs, your knees. Soften your calves, ankles. And with each exhale, find a little more ease in your body, a little more grounding, support. Rest is one of the most nourishing things that we can do to restore our vitality. And as you rest, listening to the chant that nourishes and invites nourishment into all areas of our being. Om Ayurdehi Om Pranandehi Om Apanandehi Om Yanandehi Om Chakshurdehi Om Shrutrandehi Om Manudehi Om Vachandehi Om Atmanandehi Om Pratishthandehi Om Mandehi Om Maidhehi Om. If you want to rest a little longer and nourish yourself, your body, mind, your emotions, spirit through greater rest, then please stay where you are and continue to rest. And if you're ready to move on with your day, I invite you to deepen your breath a little and invite a bit more energy and vitality through a gentle, deeper breath. Nothing straining, nothing forcing, just feeling yourself in the fullness of breath, releasing the breath completely. And after a few of those deeper, more nourishing breaths, you can add some movement, maybe your fingers and toes, your ankles and wrists. You can stretch out in any way that would feel good to you. And then eventually, when you're ready, you can roll onto one side and slowly make your way to sitting. And then bringing your palms together. And I invite you to think of one thing you could either add or take away from your life today or this week that would bring you more vitality, and make it the smallest thing you can possibly think of. So maybe it's remembering to take your vitamins, or to drink enough water, or to go to bed half an hour earlier, or whatever it is that you know is going to help you increase your vitality, the tiniest thing that you could commit to. And if that feels right to you, make a commitment to whatever that is. I'll give you a moment to come up with that and commit to that if that feels right. If not, just forget it. And then I invite you to carry that commitment into your day and perhaps into your week as you move through and focus on vitality. Namaste.